if I can improve in any way whatsoever, I'm going to try and improve as much as I can. So let's get started. So the goal of this is to be just an experiment. So we're going to do a basic project. So let's take a look at what we're going to be doing. So I'm going to generate a new Elixir project from scratch. And so this means that, we'll be able to kind of like work alongside with what I'm doing, will follow along with what I'm doing over here. So let's get started. So over here we have VS Code, and I've got the terminal open over here. And it's basically just literally from scratch. I'm going to create a new project. I'm going to call it games. So let's talk a little bit about the project. The project is just it's just a simple project that's going to allow us to kind of like learn about kind of the basic structures, the basic data structures within Elixir, the stuff that's commonly used, when we're working with Elixir. So let's get started. So hang on, let me open up the screen so I can make sure I can monitor the live feed here. Give me one moment. All right. Okay, so I'm gonna head over into the code over here. So let me get started by doing a new project. So mix new games. So this is a brand new project, and I'm gonna open up that folder in my editor here. So I'm gonna go to games like that, open it up. So I've got a blank project here, as you can see. Doesn't have much going on. So I'm gonna open up the terminal here and go to IEX-S mix, and I'm gonna do games.hello, and there we go. So the project is working. So this is literally a hello world, does nothing else. So for the simple project, what I want to do is I want to just kind of like remove everything here, and then create kind of like some basic data in here that I can start working with. So let's create a all games list. So in Elixir, we have this data structure called list. In other programming languages, you may know them as arrays. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to create some example games. So I'm going to do name, Resident Evil, Evil 3, and then I'm going to do publisher, Capcom, year 2020. So let's talk about some basic data structure. So we start off with a list, and then we added a map over here. So a map is something you use whenever you have some kind of representation of key value. So in this case, the key is the name, and then the value is actually the Resident Evil 3 string over here. And then we've got the publisher and the string here, and the year that it was published, and the string over here. So what else can we do with this? Well, let's go ahead and we can output it. So let's go ahead and create a function that can output this module attribute over here. So I'm going to do def all games, do all games. So in Elixir, you can define a function in two ways. So you do def all games, do, and then you can put whatever you want to put in there. Like, so this is the one with the do end, or you can just do it like this with a comma, and then you kind of like put the do right after that, and then you don't need an end in that case. So for example, cases like this, we're just reading a constant value. Generally, you don't have a lot of logic, or maybe like a one-liner, you use something like this. All right, so let's take a look at this. I'm going to close my server here and start it up again, and then I'm going to do games dot all games, and you can see here I can get my output for the list with the map of the game that I put in over here. So let's add another game, to be a little bit more interesting. So name, Doom Eternal, publisher is id Software, year is 2020. So in case you're wondering why I am using games as a example. It's because I've been wanting to play video games for a very long time. I haven't really had the time to play much games at all. So I guess this is my way of expressing my love for video games. Yeah, when I don't have a lot of time, I just code a lot. So yeah, okay, let's go ahead and move forward. So here, if I do the same thing, so games dot all games, I'm gonna get two games, right? Because I put that in there. So what if I want to add another game? Let's create a function that allows me to add another game. So actually, before I create another function, let me explain to you how we can add an item to a list. So you can do it in two ways. So let's say we can do something like new list equals games dot all games plus plus, and then here we can do something like name Resident Evil 2, publisher Capcom, and then the year is 2020. Actually, this one is 2019, I believe, just to keep it a little bit interesting. All right, so I added another game to the end of the list. I can also add a game to the top of the list, so I can do it like this. So here I can have, so another list equals, so here I can do something like name Resident Evil 2, and then I've got publisher Capcom, and then year is 2019. Close that out, and then I can do like a pipe over here, and then I can do games.all games. Close it out. So now I'm gonna add a game to the top of the list. So let's implement this function. So let's say I have a list and I want to add this game. So I can do something like add game. So obviously this is going to be a map of the new game. Let's say when, actually I don't want to do that yet. Let's keep it simple. So game, and then we have all games, right? So we're going to add the new game that we pass into this add function, and then just append this, this all games to the list. So it'll create a new list. So let's close this out and then try it out again. And then so we're going to do games.add. So here I'm going to type a map. So name Resident Evil 2, and then here I'm going to do publisher Capcom, and then the year is 2019. Close it out. Bam, done. So I just added a new game to the list. It's at the top of the list. Now the problem is this is not very much fun, because when I close this app out, it's pretty much gone, right? Like nothing is being persisted. So as the project progresses, what I want to do is I want to have, kind of like a progression of like, this project will become a little bit more and more complicated. So in this episode, all we did was we had a list. We have two maps in our list, and we have some basic data structure like string, and we kind of like put together a simple project for adding an item to a list. That's I think as basic as it's going to get in terms of a project, to get started with. So what I'm going to do is in the next episode I'm going to talk a little bit about more difficult concepts. I'll try to figure out what the next progression should be, what it it shouldn't be too much of a jump, but it should also allow allow us to be a little bit challenged in terms of what's coming up. Like we need to be learning something new in every episode. So I think this is a pretty good first episode. We covered some basic data structures. We got some map over here, and also please comment and like and let me know what you want to see in the next episode, so I will incorporate that as much as I can into the episode. So like I didn't do a setup or instructional like a installation video. If you want to see that, let me know. I will do that. This was kind of like a just more of an experiment than anything. So yeah, with that, I want to wrap up this episode, and thank you everyone for watching. I see I got 1 like, so appreciate it. And with that, I want to wrap up this episode. I will see you all in the next one.